What if the most miserable person in Bikini Bottom had never existed? No groaning neighbor, no eye rolls, no sarcastic remarks, just SpongeBob, free from negativity. You'd think life would be perfect, right? And at first, it is. Bikini Bottom seems brighter. The Krusty Krab is busier than ever. SpongeBob is happier than he's ever been. No friction, no setbacks, just pure uninterrupted joy. But something is off. Not in an obvious apocalyptic way. No jellyfish uprising, no burning streets. But look closer, the smiles last a little too long. The laughter feels a little too forced. Everything is running smoothly, too smoothly. And then you notice it, the missing piece, the thing that kept Bikini Bottom from spiraling out of control. Squidward wasn't just a miserable coworker, he was the town's balance. Without him, Bikini Bottom doesn't just change, it breaks. Because when boundless optimism meets no resistance, what starts as paradise always ends in disaster. SpongeBob arrives in Bikini Bottom with nothing but a suitcase full of dreams and a heart bursting with unstoppable optimism. The town greets him with open arms. The streets shimmer under the ocean light. He finds his new home at the end of Conch Street, exactly where he always imagined it would be. But as he steps inside, something feels off. He scans the room. Everything is in place. His pineapple house, his cozy furniture, Gary's food bowl, and yet a nagging feeling creeps in. A space sits empty, not physically, but emotionally, like there's a gap in the world, an absence that shouldn't exist. He shakes it off. It's nothing. It has to be nothing. He has a dream to chase. Eagerly, he marches through town, soaking in the sights. Goo Lagoon is just as lively as he imagined. Jellyfish Fields hums with energy. Bikini Bottom is alive. It's everything he wanted it to be. And yet, there's something missing. It's subtle at first. The air feels lighter. The town's rhythm too smooth, too easy. He can't put his finger on it, so he brushes it off. Then he reaches the Krusty Krab. From the outside, it's exactly as he dreamed. The golden arches, the mouth-watering scent of sizzling patties drifting through the water, his heart races. This is it. He pushes open the doors, expecting something, a challenge, a hurdle, a rival standing in his way. But the cash register is empty. No bored sigh, no sarcastic remark, no unimpressed voice muttering, "Oh, great, another one." Instead, Mr. Krabs stands alone, a greedy grin stretching across his face. You're hired. Just like that, no spatula ritual, no ceremonial burger flip, no moment to prove himself. The job is simply handed to him.
Welcome aboard.
And it feels amazing, at first. Days pass. SpongeBob is thriving. He flips, serves, cleans. The customers love him. Mr. Krabs loves him. The Krusty Krab is more efficient than ever, but something is missing. No one sighs at his excitement. No one tells him to knock it off. There's no eye rolls, no sarcastic muttering, no resistance at all. SpongeBob has never failed before, but suddenly he realizes he's never had to struggle either. And without struggle, his victories feel hollow. For the first time in his life, SpongeBob feels restless, but he brushes it off. He still has Patrick. He still has Sandy. He still has his dream job. Things are fine. They have to be fine. And yet, late at night, as he stares at his ceiling, the silence presses down on him. Not the gentle hum of ocean currents, not the bubbling of his underwater home. Something else. Something simple. Something that should be there. A sound. A single, terrible, missing sound. And that's when it hits him. This isn't the Bikini Bottom he was meant to live in. SpongeBob is unstoppable. No matter how much he works, no matter how little he sleeps, the sheer joy of cooking fuels him like an endless fire. The Krusty Krab is his stage, and every customer is an audience waiting to be amazed. But there's a problem with endless positivity. When nothing pushes back against it, it doesn't just grow, it spirals. And with Squidward gone, there's no one to slow him down, no sarcastic remark to ground him, no reluctant groan to hold him back. Nothing. So SpongeBob does what he's always done. He shares his energy with his friends. Every single day. Before the sun even rises over Jellyfish Fields, SpongeBob is at Patrick's Rock, pounding on it like a drum. Rise and shine, buddy. It's time for fun. Patrick barely has time to process before SpongeBob drags him into another perfect day. Jellyfishing, karate, bubble blowing, more jellyfishing, more karate, and just when Patrick thinks he's free, SpongeBob rushes off to work, only to show up again the second his shift ends. At first, Patrick laughs it off. He's used to SpongeBob's energy. It's what makes him his best friend. But soon, a strange feeling creeps in. Something Patrick's never really felt before. Exhaustion. Patrick, the laziest creature in Bikini Bottom, starts doing something he's never done in his life, hiding from SpongeBob. He burrows deeper under his rock, pretending not to be home. He makes up excuses. I gotta wash my rock today. Maybe later. SpongeBob doesn't understand. Patrick never says no to fun, but he brushes it off. If Patrick's busy, that just means he can go visit Sandy. Except, Sandy doesn't have time either. Sandy is a scientist, a thinker, a builder. She thrives on research, invention, discovery. Normally, she welcomes SpongeBob's antics. He makes life interesting. But this time, SpongeBob isn't just visiting every now and then. He's always there. Every experiment is interrupted. Every project derailed. Every time she turns around, he's right there, grinning, barging into her tree dome, showing off some new trick, new game, new way to make the day exciting. At first, she tries to be patient. Then, one day, SpongeBob, caught in the unstoppable momentum of his own energy, accidentally knocks over a week's worth of research with one of his wild ideas. Glass shatters, chemicals fizz and smoke, and Sandy snaps. "SpongeBob, you gotta leave me alone." The words hit SpongeBob like an anchor to the chest. Leave her alone? His smile falters. His voice drops to barely a whisper. I just thought you'd want to have some fun." Sandy sighs, rubbing her temples. "I do, SpongeBob, but not all the time. Sometimes I just need space, you know?" That word, space. SpongeBob nods slowly, forcing a smile, but his mind is spinning. He trudges home, that one word echoing in his head. Space. For the first time, a terrible thought creeps into his mind. Am I too much? But before it can take root, he shakes it off. No, this is just a bad day. Things will go back to normal. They have to, right? But the balance is gone. Bikini Bottom has always been chaotic. It thrives on weirdness, bizarre characters, unpredictable energy. But Squidward was always there, rolling his eyes, groaning, acting as the grumpy counterweight to the madness. He didn't stop the chaos, but he balanced it. Now, that balance is gone. The first victim is the Krusty Krab. Nothing seems wrong. The Krusty Krab is busier than ever. Customers flood in. SpongeBob turns every meal into a performance. They love it. Mr. Krabs loves it. The money pours in. But then, things start to shift. With Squidward gone, there's no one to say no. The customers get bolder, more demanding. The orders get more ridiculous. I want 20 Krabby Patties stacked into a perfect pyramid, with extra mustard. Sing while you make mine. No opera style. I need a burger that tells me a bedtime story before I eat it. And SpongeBob? He says yes to everything. He lives to make people happy. He doesn't stop. He can't stop. Mr. Krabs eggs him on. Keep 'em coming, boy. Happy customers mean big bucks. The line stretches out the door. The grill never stops sizzling. The cash register never stops ringing. And SpongeBob never stops moving. He runs on joy, on momentum, on pure enthusiasm. But even boundless energy has limits. He starts working 20-hour shifts. His movements slow. His hands shake. His smile falters. He barely eats, barely sleeps, and then it happens. Mid-flip, his spatula slips from his fingers. It clatters against the grill. SpongeBob doesn't pick it up. His vision blurs. The restaurant spins. His legs buckle, and he collapses. Mr. Krabs panics. "Me money-making machine! No!" Someone shakes him. He barely stirs. He mumbles something about jellyfishing, then blacks out again. And for the first time ever, Mr. Krabs realizes something terrifying. Without SpongeBob, the Krusty Krab is nothing. Bikini Bottom isn't the same while SpongeBob burns himself out. The rest of Bikini Bottom is falling apart. Sandy withdraws into her research. She stops answering the door. She stops socializing altogether. Patrick, finally free from SpongeBob's energy, spirals in the opposite direction. He becomes lazier than ever, barely leaving his rock. Jellyfish Fields becomes a mess. With no one there to balance it, swarms of jellyfish roam out of control, disrupting everything in their path. And SpongeBob? He lies in bed, staring at the ceiling. The town still looks the same. The sun still rises over Jellyfish Fields. The Krusty Krab is still there, but everything feels wrong. And then he listens. Not to the waves, not to the bubbling of his pineapple, to the silence. The missing sound. A single, simple, terrible absence. The sound of a clarinet that isn't there. And that's when he finally understands. This isn't the world he was meant to live in. SpongeBob wakes up before his alarm. Not because he's excited for another day at the Krusty Krab, but because his body refuses to sleep any longer. His limbs feel heavy, his eyes sting, and for the first time in his life, he doesn't immediately leap out of bed with a smile. Something is wrong. He drags himself into the bathroom, gripping the sink for support. His bright, porous skin looks dull. His eyes, once filled with unbreakable enthusiasm, seem tired. He blinks, forces a smile, shakes it off. I love my job. I love making people happy. Mr. Krabs is counting on me. So, like every morning, he ties his shoes, slaps on a forced grin, and marches off to work. But today, something feels different. The moment he steps inside the Krusty Krab, it hits him like a tidal wave. The line stretches out the door. Customers bark orders, louder than ever. I want a Krabby Patty with exactly 43 sesame seeds arranged in the shape of my mother's face. I need a burger that sings happy birthday when I take a bite. 5,000 patties now, or I'm leaving a bad review. SpongeBob doesn't hesitate. Coming right up, he dives into the kitchen, arms flying, spatula flipping, pushing his body past its limits. He's a blur of motion, a machine, cooking, assembling, serving. But no matter how fast he moves, the orders keep piling up. From across the restaurant, Mr. Krabs grins, eyes gleaming with greed. Pick up the pace, boy. Customers mean money, and money means happiness. Ain't that right? SpongeBob forces a smile. Right, Mr. Krabs. But then something happens. His arms grow sluggish. His vision blurs. The order tickets start to blend together into a maddening blur of demands. His head pounds, his legs tremble. He blinks rapidly, trying to focus. But then his spatula slips from his hands. It clatters against the grill, and for the first time since he started working at the Krusty Krab, SpongeBob freezes. The world spins. His legs give out. He collapses. The last thing he hears before the darkness swallows him is Mr. Krabs' panicked screech. Me money-making machine! No, not again! SpongeBob wakes up, not in the Krusty Krab, in his pineapple, staring at the ceiling. He doesn't know how long he's been out. His first instinct is to leap out of the bed. He can't be late. He can't let Mr. Krabs down. But the moment he moves, pain rips through his entire body. His limbs feel like lead. His brain feels like it's swimming through jelly. And then it hits him. He passed out. Again. For the first time ever, his body gave up before his mind did. And that terrifies him. Slowly, painfully, he drags himself out of bed. He stumbles to the window, staring at Bikini Bottom. Everything looks the same. The Krusty Krab is still there, customers still walk the streets, the ocean still shimmers. But for the first time in his life, SpongeBob feels nothing. And then his eyes land on the house next door. The empty house. The for sale sign is still there. And suddenly, his mind races. Who lived there? If he had a different neighbor, would things have been different? Would they have warned him when things got out of hand? Would they have stood up to Mr. Krabs, told him to slow down? Would they have stopped this before it was too late? Would SpongeBob have listened? The thought makes his stomach twist. Something inside him shifts. For the first time in his life, SpongeBob feels angry. The next morning, SpongeBob doesn't go to work. The Krusty Krab opens as usual. The customers line up. Mr. Krabs waits expectantly for his star employee to show up. Spatula in hand, ready to flip patties, but he never does. By noon, Mr. Krabs can't take it anymore. He storms out of the restaurant, his footsteps heavy with frustration, and marches straight toward SpongeBob's house. He bangs on the door. SpongeBob, get your square behind to work. You're losing me money. No response. For the first time ever, SpongeBob isn't jumping to obey. Mr. Krabs bangs harder. Boy, don't make me cut your pay. Still, nothing. Inside, SpongeBob sits in silence, staring at his spatula. A war rages in his mind. The part of him that always obeyed, always smiled, always wanted to make people happy. tells him to fix this, to get up, to apologize, to make Mr. Krabs happy again. But then a different voice creeps in, a voice that sounds an awful lot like Squidward's. Why do you care so much what he thinks? SpongeBob grips his spatula tighter. For years, he thought happiness came from pleasing others, from saying yes, from working hard, from giving everything to the people around him. But where has that gotten him? Patrick avoids him. Sandy pushed him away. His body collapsed from exhaustion. And Mr. Krabs? He doesn't care. He just wants the money to keep rolling in. SpongeBob takes a deep breath, and he makes a decision that changes everything. That afternoon, SpongeBob finally arrives at the Krusty Krab, but not as an employee. He marches through the front doors, staring directly at Mr. Krabs. The entire restaurant goes quiet. Mr. Krabs grins, his old confidence returning. "Ah, there you are. Now get back behind the grill." No. The single word cuts through the air like a knife. Mr. Krabs blinks. What did he just say? SpongeBob takes a deep breath, steadying himself. "I said no, Mr. Krabs. I quit." The customers gasp. Patrick, who had been eating a Krabby Patty in the corner, chokes. Mr. Krabs stares at him, as if he can't comprehend the words. "You can't quit. You love this job." SpongeBob shakes his head. "No, Mr. Krabs. I loved it, but not anymore. You don't care about me. You just care about the money." Mr. Krabs sputters. "That ain't true." SpongeBob steps forward, his voice sharper now. "Then tell me, when was the last time you asked if I was okay?" Mr. Krabs freezes. The restaurant falls into an uneasy silence. SpongeBob exhales slowly. "I've been working nonstop. I passed out on the job, and you didn't even care." His voice hardens. "Well, I care, and I'm done." And with that, he sets his spatula on the counter, turns around, and walks out of the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs calls after him, but for the first time, SpongeBob doesn't look back. As he steps outside, a strange feeling washes over him. It's terrifying. It's uncertain. But for the first time in his life, it feels free. It didn't lead to the disaster you might expect. No villain took over. No world-ending crisis. Instead, something quieter happened. Bikini Bottom didn't explode. It didn't crumble into chaos. The sun still rose over jellyfish fields. The Krusty Krab still stood. From the outside, everything looked normal, but SpongeBob's world had changed forever. For years, he believed his happiness was limitless, an unstoppable force that could brighten even the darkest corners of Bikini Bottom. But without Squidward, that happiness had nowhere to go. No resistance, no challenge. And what happens to a force with no friction? It spirals out of control. Squidward wasn't just a miserable neighbor. He was the balance, the one person in SpongeBob's life who ever said no. The one who made him pause, the one who forced him to reflect, to question, to grow. Without him, SpongeBob became a machine, running himself ragged in pursuit of something that no longer felt fulfilling. And by the time he realized it, he had nearly lost himself. Because here's the truth no one likes to admit: happiness without struggle is empty. So now I have to ask, if taking one person out of SpongeBob's life changed everything, what happens when we remove two? What if Squidward and Patrick were never born? No grumpy neighbor to balance the chaos. No best friend to share in SpongeBob's adventures. No rivalry. No friendship. Just a Bikini Bottom that never knew them at all. Would the Krusty Krab still be the success it became? Would SpongeBob even be the same without the two most important forces in his life: resistance and companionship? Or would Bikini Bottom be unrecognizable, shaped by an entirely different destiny? If Squidward's absence turned SpongeBob into a machine, then imagine a world where both Squidward and Patrick never existed. No laughter, no complaints, no balance at all. Would Bikini Bottom thrive, or would it collapse under the weight of what was missing? Let me know in the comments what other what-if scenarios you want to see next, because this next timeline, it might just change everything.